You have been taught to be kind. You have been raised to be gentle, to be understanding, to give without expecting anything in return. And for what? How many times have you bent over backward only to be met with indifference? How many times have you silenced yourself to keep the peace? How many times have you put someone else's comfort above your own? Stop. This kindness, this endless giving is not serving you. It is draining you. It is leaving you empty, unheard, and unseen. You have been taught that being kind makes you valuable, that if you are soft enough, patient enough, forgiving enough, he will see your worth. But here's the truth. Kindness does not make you valuable in a man's eyes. It makes you convenient. You have been conditioned to believe that kindness is the ultimate virtue, that if you are understanding, patient, and giving, people will naturally appreciate and reciprocate your efforts. But in reality, when kindness is given without boundaries, it does not earn respect. It breeds complacency. Being overly kind does not make a man value you. It makes you easy to use. It makes you convenient. And the truth is, convenience is not the same as love. When someone sees you as convenient, they do not cherish you. They simply keep you around because it benefits them. They do not put in effort because they do not have to. They do not appreciate your kindness because they have learned to expect it. They know that no matter what they do, whether they neglect you, take you for granted, or offer you the bare minimum, you will still be there, giving, understanding, and forgiving. They do not see you as irreplaceable. They see you as someone who will always tolerate their shortcomings. This happens because kindness, when given without limits, removes the challenge. It removes the need for effort. People by nature do not value what they do not have to work for. This is why people chase what is hard to obtain, why they respect those who set standards, and why they admire those who know their worth. But when you are too kind, too forgiving, too available, you eliminate the need for someone to step up. Why would they work harder when they already receive the benefits of your kindness without any cost? Why would they appreciate you when they know they can mistreat you and still have access to your heart? You must understand that not everyone deserves your kindness. Not every person you meet should be given endless patience, unwavering support, and unconditional understanding. Kindness should be earned, not given freely to those who do not respect it. The moment you start setting limits on your kindness, you will begin to see the truth, who is really there for you and who is just taking advantage of what you offer. When a man sees that you are overly kind, that you always forgive, that you never demand more, he does not think, wow, what a wonderful woman, I should appreciate her. Instead, he thinks, I don't have to do much to keep her around. He learns that there are no consequences for his behavior, that you will stay no matter how little effort he puts in. He does not rise to the occasion. He sinks further into comfort, knowing that you will always be there regardless of how he treats you. This is why you must stop believing that kindness alone will earn you love or respect. Won't. Respect comes from boundaries. It comes from knowing when to walk away. It comes from demanding the same level of effort, care, and consideration that you give to others. If you keep being overly kind, you will continue to attract those who only want to take. But the moment you decide that your kindness is valuable, that it is not something to be handed out freely, you will start attracting people who actually deserve it. Men do not fall in love with kindness alone. They fall in love with standards, with women who know their worth, with women who do not tolerate disrespect. A man may enjoy the benefits of your kindness, but he will never truly respect it if he does not have to work for it. And if he does not respect it, he will never value it. This is why being too kind is dangerous. It makes you easy to overlook. It makes you easy to take for granted. It makes you blend into the background, becoming just another option instead of someone irreplaceable. A woman who is too kind becomes predictable, and predictability breeds indifference. But a woman who values her kindness, who gives it selectively, who demands effort in return, she commands respect. She stands out. You need to shift your mindset from believing that kindness will earn you love to understanding that kindness, when given without limits, can make you disposable. If you want to be truly valued, you must be willing to do what most people are afraid to do. Stop giving to those who take you for granted. Stop being endlessly kind to men who do not deserve it. Stop believing that if you are just a little more patient, a little more understanding, things will change. Nothing will change until you do. You were never meant to carry the weight of another person's emotional burdens. Yet time and time again, you find yourself stepping into the role of caretaker, fixer, and healer, as if it is your duty to mend what is broken in someone else. You listen when he is frustrated, you comfort him when he is lost, and you bear the weight of his insecurities, his struggles, and his unresolved wounds, believing that your love and kindness will be enough to heal him. But in doing so, you are sacrificing yourself. You are exhausting your own emotional reserves, draining your energy, and neglecting your own needs, all in an attempt to fix someone who is not even trying to fix himself. It is not your job to teach a man how to love. It is not your job to guide him into maturity. It is not your job to be the emotional foundation he was never willing to build for himself. You may believe that by being understanding, patient, and selfless, you are doing something noble. That by standing beside him, even when he fails to show up for you, you are proving your worth. But in reality, you are only proving that you are willing to accept less than you deserve. Men who are not emotionally mature will always seek out women who are willing to do the work for them. They will gravitate towards women who are nurturing, giving, and endlessly patient because they know they can get away with doing the bare minimum. They know that you will be there to pick up the pieces every time they fall apart. They know that no matter how little effort they put in, you will continue to pour your love, time, and energy into them, hoping they will one day see your value and change. But they won't, because they don't have to. When a man realizes that you will always be there, regardless of how he treats you, he has no motivation to change. He has no reason to take responsibility for his own healing, his own growth, or his own emotional well-being. He has no reason to rise to your level when he knows you will always lower yourself to meet him where he is. The more you take on his burdens, the more comfortable he becomes in his stagnation. The more you fix his problems, the less accountable he becomes for his own actions. And before you know it, you are no longer just his partner, you are his emotional crutch. And yet, while you are giving everything to hold him up, who is holding you? While you are spending hours trying to understand his pain, who is understanding yours? While you are offering him patience and grace, who is offering the same to you? The answer is no one. Because when you take on the role of healer, you stop being seen as someone who needs healing too. When you become his safe space, his comfort zone, his source of endless reassurance, you lose the space to be vulnerable yourself. You silence your own needs to accommodate his. You push aside your own struggles because his seem more important. And in the process, you forget that you too deserve the same love and care that you are so willing to give. A relationship should not feel like an unpaid therapy session. You should not have to guide a grown man through the basics of emotional intelligence. You should not have to beg for reciprocation. You should not have to teach someone how to communicate, how to respect you, or how to be a decent partner. That is not love. That is labor. And emotional labor is one of the most draining, soul-depleting things you can give to the wrong person. When you continuously invest in someone who refuses to invest in himself, you are not helping him grow. You are only delaying the inevitable, because the truth is, a man who is unwilling to heal himself will never truly be whole, no matter how much love you pour into him. And when he finally does decide to grow, it won't be because of your kindness. It will be because he chooses to do it for himself. So the question is, how much more of yourself are you willing to sacrifice in the process? How much longer are you willing to put your own happiness on hold? How much more will you give before you realize that it is not your responsibility to carry a weight that was never meant to be yours? Respect is not something that can be earned by being endlessly kind, patient, or forgiving. It is not something that comes from always saying yes, always being available, or always putting someone else's needs before your own. Respect is built through boundaries, through knowing what you will and will not tolerate, through standing firm in your expectations, and through refusing to settle for less than you deserve. Many women are raised to believe that if they are kind enough, understanding enough, and selfless enough, people will naturally respect and appreciate them. But this is a dangerous lie. Being kind without boundaries does not make people respect you. It makes them comfortable in taking you for granted. It teaches them that you will always be there no matter how they treat you. It shows them that they can continue to push your limits, neglect your needs, and ignore your worth because you have never required them to do otherwise. A man does not respect a woman simply because she is kind. He respects a woman who demands to be treated with dignity. He respects a woman who sets clear boundaries and follows through when those boundaries are crossed. He respects a woman who is not afraid to say no, to walk away, or to choose herself when she is not valued. Boundaries are not about being mean or unkind. They are about self-respect. They are about knowing your worth and refusing to let anyone diminish it. They are about recognizing that you do not have to tolerate mistreatment, disrespect, or neglect in the name of love. They are about understanding that real love is built on mutual effort, not on one person constantly giving while the other takes. When you fail to set boundaries, you invite disrespect. You teach people that they can have full access to your time, energy, and emotions without having to earn it. You teach them that they can disregard your feelings without consequences. You teach them that no matter what they do, you will continue to show up, to give, to forgive, to tolerate. And over time, that tolerance turns into resentment. That giving turns into exhaustion. That patience turns into self-betrayal. Respect is not something you ask for. It is something you require. It is something that is reinforced through action, not words. A man may say he respects you, but if his actions do not align, it means nothing. A man may claim to love you, but if he continually disregards your boundaries, his love is meaningless. The moment you start enforcing your boundaries, you will see the truth. Some people will respect them and rise to meet your standards. Others will resist, push back, or even leave. And that is exactly the point. Boundaries do not chase away the right people. They expose the wrong ones. A man who truly values you will never be offended by your boundaries. He will respect them because he will understand that a woman who respects herself is a woman worth respecting. You cannot build a relationship on kindness alone. You cannot make someone value you by giving endlessly while expecting nothing in return. You cannot be respected by someone who knows you will tolerate anything. The only way to be respected is to require it. The only way to be valued is to stop accepting less than what you deserve. The only way to teach people how to treat you is to refuse to let them treat you any other way. When you continuously give without limits, you create a dynamic where the other person expects more while contributing less. The more effort, time, and energy you pour into someone without requiring the same in return, the more they begin to take it for granted. It starts small. Maybe you make excuses for his behavior, forgive him too quickly, or go out of your way to accommodate his needs while he barely acknowledges yours. But over time, this imbalance grows. He learns that he doesn't have to try because you are always there, always giving, always willing to do whatever it takes to make things work. Men do not stop putting in effort overnight. It is a gradual process, a slow decline that happens when they realize they can take more without consequences. At first, they may appreciate your kindness, your patience, and your willingness to go the extra mile. But as time goes on, appreciation turns into expectation. What was once a thoughtful gesture becomes something they assume you will do. What was once special becomes routine. And the more you give without receiving, the more they take without thinking. Giving in a relationship should be mutual. Love, respect, and effort should flow in both directions. But when one person is constantly giving while the other is only taking, resentment begins to build. You start to feel unappreciated, undervalued, and emotionally drained. You wonder why he no longer puts in effort, why he no longer prioritizes you, why he no longer tries to make you happy. But the truth is, he has never had to, because from the beginning, you set the expectation that he didn't need to. You showed him that you would always give even when he gave nothing in return. This is why overgiving is dangerous. It does not make someone love you more. It makes them value you less. It teaches them that they do not have to earn your love, your time, or your energy. You will give it to them freely, even at your own expense. And once someone realizes they can have something without effort, they stop appreciating it. There is a fine line between generosity and self-sacrifice, between loving someone and losing yourself in the process, between giving because you want to and giving because you feel you have to. Love should not feel like a transaction where one person is constantly investing while the other simply collects the benefits. It should not feel like a test where you are constantly proving your worth, hoping the other person will finally see your value. Real love is balanced. It is reciprocal. It is built on mutual effort, not one person continuously draining themselves while the other simply receives. The more you give, the more someone will take. Until you decide to stop, until you set boundaries, until you demand the same level of effort in return, until you realize that love is not about sacrificing yourself for someone else's comfort. It is about choosing someone who meets you with the same energy, the same dedication, and the same willingness to build something real. If you keep giving without limits, you will continue to attract people who only know how to take. But the moment you choose to protect your energy, to expect effort in return, to stop settling for less, everything changes. Many women believe that if they just love hard enough, give enough, and remain patient, a man will eventually see their worth and love them back the way they deserve. This belief is deeply ingrained, reinforced by fairy tales, movies, and cultural expectations that tell women their kindness, loyalty, and sacrifice will eventually be rewarded. But in reality, love does not work this way. Love is not a prize that is won through suffering, nor is it something that can be forced through endless giving. The harsh truth is that no amount of kindness, patience, or self-sacrifice can make a man love you if he does not already. Women often mistake effort for progress, thinking that if they continue to show up, support, and pour into a relationship, the other person will eventually wake up and realize their value. But this rarely happens. Instead, what happens is that the more you give, the more the other person gets used to receiving without reciprocating. They become comfortable knowing that you will always be there, always willing to forgive, always willing to understand. And the moment someone realizes they do not have to work for your love, they stop appreciating it. It is painful to accept, but love is not something that can be earned through good behavior. A man will not suddenly love you more just because you stood by him through his worst moments. He will not suddenly realize your worth because you tolerated his neglect, his inconsistency, or his lack of effort. In fact, the more you excuse his behavior, the less he will respect you. The more you lower your standards, the less he will value what you bring to the table. Love should not be a battle, nor should it feel like a test where one person is constantly proving themselves while the other simply reaps the benefits. Women who love deeply often believe they can be the exception, that their patience will eventually be rewarded, that if they just hold on a little longer, things will change. But what they fail to see is that love does not require suffering. A man who truly values you will not need years of patience and sacrifice to realize your worth. He will see it from the beginning. And a man who does not see it from the start will not magically wake up one day and decide to love you just because you never gave up on him. The reality is that a man either values you or he does not. He either sees your worth or he does not. And if he does not, there is nothing you can do to change that. No amount of kindness, loyalty, or effort can make up for a lack of genuine love and appreciation. When a man truly loves and respects you, he does not need to be convinced to treat you well. He does not need to be reminded of your worth. He does not need to be pushed to reciprocate the love and effort you give so freely. Waiting for someone to change, hoping they will one day see your value, is one of the most damaging things you can do to yourself. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of false hope, in a pattern of overgiving and under-receiving. It makes you believe that love is something that must be earned, rather than something that should be freely given by the right person. And the longer you wait, the more you lose yourself in the process. Love is not about proving yourself to someone who refuses to see your worth. It is about choosing someone who values you without needing to be convinced. It is about recognizing when someone is not capable of giving you the love you deserve and having the strength to walk away. Because the truth is, the right person will never need you to prove your worth to them, They will know it from the start. One of the biggest mistakes women make in relationships is believing that their love has the power to change a man. They think that if they are patient enough, supportive enough, and understanding enough, they can inspire him to grow into the man he is supposed to be. They believe that their kindness can heal his wounds, that their sacrifices can make up for his flaws, and that their unwavering loyalty can transform him into a better person. But this is nothing more than a dangerous illusion. A man only changes when he wants to change. No amount of love, patience, or forgiveness can force someone to become what they are not ready to be. No matter how much you try to guide him, uplift him, or stand by his side, he will not change unless he decides to do it for himself. And if he has not made that decision, nothing you do will make a difference. Women who fall into this trap often convince themselves that they see potential. They hold on to the version of him that exists in their mind, the version of him that is kind, loving, responsible, and emotionally mature. They believe that if they love him enough, he will one day become that version of himself. But potential is meaningless if the person is not actively working towards it. A man's potential is not your responsibility. It is not your job to shape him into the person you believe he can be. Staying with someone because of their potential is one of the most self-destructive choices you can make. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of false hope, constantly waiting for a change that never comes. It makes you believe that you are the problem, that if you just try harder, give more, or hold on a little longer, he will finally become the man you need him to be. But in reality, all you are doing is wasting your time on someone who has no intention of growing. A man who wants to change will do it on his own. He will not need you to push him, beg him, or suffer for him. He will take accountability for his own actions, recognize his own flaws, and make the effort to improve. And when a man is truly ready to grow, he will not need a woman to suffer in order for him to do so. He will do it because he sees the value in being better, not because you stayed through the worst of him. Women often mistake struggle for love. They believe that enduring pain, disrespect, or neglect is proof of their devotion. They think that if they just hold on long enough, their patience will be rewarded. But the truth is, struggling for someone who refuses to change does not make you strong. It only makes you exhausted. Love should not feel like a battle where you are constantly fighting for someone to treat you right. It should not feel like a project where you are fixing, guiding, or molding someone into the person they should already be. The man you choose should already be the kind of person you want to be with. He should already have the qualities you value, the maturity you need, and the emotional intelligence required for a healthy relationship. You should not have to wait for him to grow into it. You should not have to sacrifice your peace for his potential. You should not have to love him at your own expense, hoping he will one day become what you need. The right man will not need you to change him. The right man will already be working on himself, already striving to be better, already committed to growth, without needing you to suffer in the process. A man who truly values you will not need to see you endure pain just to appreciate your worth. He will step up because he wants to, not because you waited long enough for him to do so. Self-worth is the foundation of every choice you make in love, relationships, and life itself. It determines what you tolerate, what you demand, and what you walk away from. The way you see yourself influences the way others treat you, and if you do not value yourself, you will attract people who do not value you either. Many women lower their standards because they are afraid of being alone. They settle for men who do not treat them well, who offer them the bare minimum, or who refuse to meet them halfway. They convince themselves that it is better to have someone rather than no one, so they make excuses for bad behavior, ignore red flags, and continue giving without receiving. They tolerate disrespect, inconsistency, and emotional neglect, all because they believe they are not worthy of more. A woman who truly knows her worth does not settle for half love, empty promises, or relationships that leave her feeling drained. She does not wait for someone to realize her value. She knows her value and walks away from anyone who does not see it. She does not waste her time trying to prove herself to a man who takes her for granted, nor does she stay in situations that make her question her self-respect. She understands that being alone is far better than being with someone who does not appreciate her. When you know your worth, you do not beg for love, time, or attention. You do not chase someone who is not willing to meet you where you are. You do not sacrifice your happiness for the sake of keeping someone else comfortable. You hold yourself to a higher standard because you understand that love should not feel like a struggle, and relationships should not require you to constantly prove your value. The problem is that many women tie their self-worth to the way men treat them. They believe that if a man loves them, they must be lovable. If a man chooses them, they must be worthy. If a man stays, they must be enough. But true self-worth does not come from external validation. It does not depend on whether someone loves you, chooses you, or stays with you. It comes from within. It comes from knowing who you are, what you bring to the table, and what you deserve. A woman who understands her worth does not feel threatened by the idea of walking away. She knows that her time, energy, and love are valuable, and she refuses to waste them on someone who does not appreciate them. She does not give countless chances to a man who repeatedly disappoints her. She does not wait for someone to change, to commit, or to finally realize what he had all along. She moves forward knowing that the right man will never make her question her value. Knowing your worth is not just about relationships. It is about how you show up in every area of your life. It is about the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you set boundaries, and the way you refuse to accept anything less than what you deserve. It is about standing firm in your expectations, not because you are difficult or demanding, but because you know that settling for less will never bring you the happiness you seek. When you do not recognize your own worth, you hand over your power to others. You allow people to dictate how you should be treated. You accept breadcrumbs of affection, hoping they will turn into love. You cling to relationships that make you feel small, believing that it is the best you can do. But the moment you realize your worth, everything changes. You stop waiting for someone else to see it, and instead you start demanding the respect, love, and effort you deserve. The love you accept from others will always be a reflection of the love you have for yourself. If you do not believe you deserve more, you will continue to settle for less. If you do not respect yourself, you will continue to attract people who do not respect you either. But when you truly embrace your worth, you naturally start choosing better relationships, better friendships, better opportunities, and a better life. Walking away is one of the hardest things a woman can do, especially when she has invested her heart, time, and energy into a relationship. Many women stay in situations that no longer serve them, convincing themselves that things will eventually get better, that their patience will pay off, or that leaving means giving up. They hold on to hope, even when the reality of their situation tells them otherwise. They keep giving chances, keep forgiving, keep compromising, because they fear that walking away means losing everything. But the truth is, walking away is not losing. It is choosing yourself. A woman who knows her worth does not stay where she is not valued. She does not cling to a relationship that drains her, disrespects her, or makes her feel small. She does not wait for a man to change, to see her value, or to finally give her the love she has always deserved. She understands that staying in a situation that makes her unhappy is far worse than facing the unknown. She understands that holding on to something that is breaking her is not love, it is self-destruction. Fear keeps many women stuck. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of never finding someone better. They convince themselves that what they have is the best they can get, even when it makes them feel unworthy and unloved. They silence the voice inside them that tells them they deserve more. They ignore the signs, the red flags, the gut feelings that whisper the truth they do not want to face, but ignoring reality does not change it. Pretending that things are fine does not make them better. Staying in a situation that hurts you does not turn pain into love. Walking away is an act of self-respect. It is not about being bitter or giving up. It is about recognizing that you deserve better and having the courage to demand it. It is about understanding that love is not meant to feel like a constant struggle. It is about realizing that the right person will never make you beg for love, attention, or effort. It is about accepting that sometimes the best thing you can do is let go. A man who truly values you will never put you in a position where you have to choose between him and your self-worth. He will never make you feel like you are asking for too much just because you expect to be treated with love and respect. The right man will not need you to suffer before he realizes your worth. And if you have to fight, beg, or constantly prove yourself just to receive basic love and respect, then he is not the right man. Walking away does not mean you failed. It means you learned. It means you grew. It means you finally saw yourself clearly and chose to prioritize your own happiness. It means you understood that real love is not about holding on. It is about being with someone who never makes you feel like you have to fight for your place in their life. The moment you walk away from what no longer serves you, you open the door for something better. You free yourself from a cycle of pain, from a love that was never truly yours, from a relationship that was built on unbalanced effort. You give yourself the chance to find peace, to heal, to rediscover who you are outside of someone else. You remind yourself that you are whole on your own, that your worth is not dependent on anyone else's love, and that the right person will never make you question your value. Choosing to walk away is not the end. It is the beginning. It is the moment you take back your power, reclaim your confidence, and remind yourself that you are worthy of a love that does not require suffering. It is the moment you stop settling, stop waiting, and start believing that you deserve more. And when you make that choice, everything changes, because when you finally walk away from what is breaking you, you make space for the love, respect, and happiness that you truly deserve. At the end of the day, kindness is a gift, a rare, precious gift, but not everyone deserves it. And the most important lesson you will ever learn is this: not everyone is worthy of your kindness, your time, or your love. You have spent too long believing that if you just try harder, love deeper, and give more, things will change. But they won't, because the wrong people will never value the right things. So here is the truth you need to hold on to. You do not owe anyone your kindness at the cost of your own peace. The world does not reward the woman who gives endlessly. It rewards the woman who knows her worth. The woman who refuses to be disrespected, the woman who walks away from anything that does not honor her, that woman is you. And the day you stop being kind to men who do not deserve it is the day you set yourself free. The day you reclaim your power. The day you step into the life you are meant to live, one where you are cherished, respected, and finally truly loved, not by them, but by you.